What up with it, man? It's your boy HoodiiSzn back at it with another album review for y'all. Today we got Westside Boogie, More Black Superheroes. But before I get into that, I just want to start by saying I'm a big fan of Boogie's music. If you're not familiar with his catalog, do your research and do yourself a favor. Especially as far as his last project, Everything's for Sale. Really good project. If you know Westside Boogie, you know that he has some of the best love rap songs in the game. He has very deep, introspective songs. He does a great job at making his music feel nostalgic right after release. Like, you just hear it and it feels way more connected to your everyday life and your everyday thoughts than most other artists' music. And in my opinion, that was one of the best projects of 2019. You would think that him being signed to a label like J.I.D Records with someone like Eminem backing him, that he would be a whole lot more bigger than what he is. I believe Joe Budden complained about the same thing when it came to Slaughterhouse and their relationship with Eminem. But that's another video for another time. Today we got More Black Superheroes by Westside Boogie. The overall feeling and vibe of this project is very reminiscent of his 2019 project. For me, that's a really good thing. I thoroughly enjoyed that. This project has 12 tracks with a couple unexpected features like Soulja Boy and Snoop Dogg, but somehow he managed to make it work. This album opens with the title track, More Black Superheroes. There's also a music video for this track that I can't play here. I wish I could, but just know it does a great job at illustrating the main topic of this album, which is pretty much centered around the idea of the childhood trauma that a lot of us go through and how not having a positive and responsible role model to help guide a young man or a young lady through that trauma can be very detrimental and consequential later on down the line. And to kind of help you understand a little better, think of Riley and Huey, Riley versus Huey from the Boondocks. Riley looked up to guys like Thugnificent and Gangstalicious, guys who constantly push negative energy and thought patterns to our youth, but never live like that in their actual lives. And then look at Huey's influences. He looked up to guys like Langston Hughes and Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. Believe it or not, your childhood role models and influences play a major role in creating the future you. But overall, so far this is a great introduction to the album. Moving on to the next song, titled Stuck. This is kind of when Boogie sort of switches from his Huey type of subject matter to now he's almost glorifying some parts of the hood. Like, yeah, it messed up a lot of us, but there's still some parts in here that it's so hard to explain, but you still feel just attached to it, regardless of how messed up the hood is, or wherever you may be from. Home will always feel like home, and it's just certain things that you're just accustomed to there that you just won't get that feeling anywhere else. So he goes on to kind of break that down, and it's a cool little bop. I like it. There's also a music video for it that I wish I could play, but I can't. But yeah, man, so far, man, it's 2 for 2 for me. Moving on to the next track in the album, titled Nonchalant. This is one of my first standouts from the album as I was listening. This is his first, at least in the order that I have it, this is the first love song you hear on the album. Very dope. Late night cruising through the city, early in the morning, just leaving from somewhere, just floating around, chilling in the crib, man. This is definitely a top tier song from Westside Boogie. This is right in his vein of love songs. The vocalist on here, I believe her name is Mami. I doubt it's Mammy, but if I'm mispronouncing it, I apologize. But she sounds really great on this song. This is one of my first standouts from the album. I would definitely give this song like a 9 out of 10 for me personally. This is right up my alley for what I expect and what I want from a Westside Boogie project. So yeah, definitely 3 for 3 so far. Up next we have LOL SMH part 2. In case you're wondering, part 1 is a part of his previous album, Everything's for Sale. This is one of my favorite introspective songs from the project. He goes into why he has a hard time showing affection to the person that he loves, and how sometimes he has to bump his head to learn from his lessons, as if to say, you may not realize what you have until you no longer have it. Moving on, next we have Can't Even Lie featuring Soulja Boy. I gotta be honest, the first time I heard this song, I could not stand Soulja Boy's verse. But over time, it just grew on me, and now it's like just one of my favorite bops from the song. Like if I'm just riding around running errands or something, I just can't help but to turn it on. The flow is dope, the beat is dope, but I'm definitely not mad at you if Soulja's verse rubbed you the wrong way. Like I said, it just kind of grew on me over time, so now I'll rap Soulja verse word for word, but I gotta be honest, at first I couldn't stand it. So for me, I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10 for sure. Nothing high, nothing low, but it's definitely one of my go-tos when I just want to have some background music or something to bop to and ride around to. It's one of my go-tos for sure. Next on the track list, we have the track Prideful. This is another standout for me. I'm gonna rate it a 9 out of 10. I love this song. This is probably the most chill and relaxing song on the album. Not a whole lot to say about it, but just the appeal of it, and you know how much it's tuned for just my ears and my personal enjoyment. You know, this is definitely a standout for me. Up next, we have my number 1 favorite track from the album, Can't Get Over You, featuring Smino and Tizo Touchdown. This is the absolute most standout track from the album. I listened to this song back to back on repeat all day when this album first dropped. Definitely a standout. For me, I'm giving this a 10 out of 10. Obviously, I'm pretty sure he knew that this was the one that majority of his fans were gonna gravitate to. The verses are cool, the vocals are great, the beat is great, the vibe is great, the subject matter is great. For me, it is a 10 out of 10 for me. Up next, we have Ratchet Boog, another one of a great standout track from this album. He definitely cut a lot of the fat out of this album. I'm sure he has enough on his hard drive to release a 30 track project if he wanted to, but this album is definitely straight to the point. I love this song also. For me personally, I'm gonna give this a 10 out of 10 for me. This is something that I listen to on the regular. My only problem with this song is that it is too short. This entire song is 2 minutes and 6 seconds, and to make things worse, that dope flow he did for the first 3/4 of the song ends, and then the beat switches and he kind of does something else for the last quarter of the song. That's the only thing I'm mad at. This song could have been 3 minutes and 50 seconds for me, so I'm gonna take off 1 point for that, and I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10, but definitely one of my favorites. Up next, we have Something Strange. At first when I heard this song, I thought it was cool, I thought I liked it, but the more I listened to it, the more I kind of pushed it away. I'm not sure if it's the vocals on the song or the featured artist or what. I do like the beat. I like the flow. I like the overall vibe of the song. The hook is great, but I'm not too sure I agree with the direction they decided to take the actual verses in. So for me, I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10. Nothing terrible. Still a cool song, but I feel like more could have been done with that beat and that production than was, but it's all good. So far it's still a complete playthrough, no skip for me. Other than this one song, just depending on my mood, I might let it play, I might not, but so far the album's still solid. Up next on the album, we have Windows Down featuring Snoop Dogg. This song probably had the most potential, other than that one featuring Smino, to be the biggest standout from the album for me personally. But Snoop Dogg's verse, I just cannot vibe to. Like, I know it sounds messed up, but every single time it comes on, I have to skip it. I love this song. I love the vibe, the hook, Boogie's verse, the beat, everything about it, but Snoop just does not match this song for me. You know, I get it, and it's not terrible. It's cool. You know, if it's just some background music, I'm not mad at it at all. But I just feel like there were so many other artists and picks that would have done this beat way more justice than Snoop. But you know, it is what it is. You know, he a West Coast legend for sure. So I'm definitely not surprised that that Boogie put him on the album at all. But I just feel like he done more harm than good to the track. No disrespect to him, but it's just the flow. That flow just sounds so dated to me that I just can't rock with it. Also, to kind of give an example of what I mean, if you're familiar with Rod Wave's music, he has a song called Calabasas that features E40. I hate E40's verse on that song. It ruined the entire song for me. That would have been one of my most favorite Rod Wave songs, but E40's verse trashed the whole song for me. I'm sorry. Like, Rod Wave would have been better just rapping and singing throughout the entire song and had no feature if that's what he was gonna do. But that's neither here nor there. This is still a great song, even with Snoop on it. I would have just preferred someone else. But I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10 just because of how much I like everything else but Snoop's verse, but everything else outweighs that by that much for me to give it a 9 out of 10 for sure. And last but not least, we have the track Anthony. This is the outro to the project, and I'm not mad at it. It was a cool song, very introspective, straight to the point. You know, he delved into some emotional topics, and he sort of treated it like a diary piece. It's definitely a great finisher to this project. Overall, I'm gonna have to give this project a 9 out of 10 for me. I've been listening to it pretty much every day since it's dropped. You know, it's just in my daily playlist rotation. Great album, 9 out of 10. I definitely can't wait for the next one. Hopefully I can get this one signed, like everything's for sale. That'll be real dope. Shout out to Boogie, man. If you have not heard his music, please do yourself a favor. Check him out. Everything's for sale. He's got some older projects, a few singles floating around for sure. Man, check him out, bro. Definitely a great album. One of the best to drop this year for me. This album, this one, and a couple more we'll get to in another video. But this is definitely one of the a quiet gem that dropped this year, and it's a shame that Drake dropped on the same day. Drake's surprise dropped on the same day that Boogie's album dropped. So, you know, it kind of overshadowed it, but in a weird way, it almost helped because it made Boogie's supporters a lot more vocal. Like, yeah, like, we know y'all love Drake and all this stuff, but don't let that hide the fact that someone else dropped another really good album today too. So I saw him trending on Twitter, and I think Drake dropping also helped bring more people to his album also. So I'm pretty sure it worked out. Definitely can't wait for the next one, man. Boogie, if you hear this, keep doing your thing. Definitely a huge supporter over here. That'll do it, ladies and gentlemen. Another album review, Westside Boogie, More Black Superheroes, 9 out of 10. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button for your boy if you like this. If you want to see more album reviews, stay tuned for that Kevin Gates Kaza album review coming soon. Make sure you follow your boy on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Like and subscribe this video, share it for your boy. And I'm going to holler at you next time, man. Peace.